What is up, Misfits and Moonbasers? You can't see that. Well, I'm not about to mess with the control settings anyway. Where was I? Oh yeah. So what's up, Misfits and Moonbasers? This is your boy Ray Recall once again with a video review. This time it's something that I personally have been looking forward to ever since Titan's Return was a thing. So, not really much fanfare to it, so we'll just get right down to it. Today we will be looking at the Transformers Siege Voyager class Apeface. Yeah, this guy, this nasty dude. So this is Generations Voyager Apeface. Man, there's not really much to say. Kind of at a loss for words. I've been wanting this figure for, like I said, for a while, ever since, this little dude came out. And we can get to looking at him in just a quick second. But first of all, of course, we've got to take a quick look at the figure himself. So this is Apeface in his robot mode. He is, of course, a triple changer and a headmaster. We'll also get into that in just a second. Robot mode is very nicely done. The only real kibble is just the nose cone from the jet mode, really. Not much you can do about that. It's just sitting there. I'm surprised that the kibble wasn't actually more than what it is for this figure. At least for robot mode. I thought this was going to have a whole bunch of other junk hanging off the back, because I have seen or a lot of promo images for this figure, at least the ones that I saw, had him with a bunch of junk in the trunk, unfortunately. But yeah, so this is Apeface, and in the G1 cartoon, he was one of the Horicons, Terracons. No, it was a Horicon. Him along with Snapdragon, I believe. And they were the two triple changing Decepticon headmasters, whatever. So, of course, being a headmaster, he is able to decapitate. There we go. And his headmaster is pretty interesting, actually. Take a quick look at the Titan's Return version. So this is the Titan's Return version real quick. And his face style, the head sculpt on here, very in line with the G1 style, specifically the toy version. And then if you look at the one on the Titan, or the Siege figure, it is a little bit different. Kind of more closely in line with the cartoon version. Now both of these are basically, excuse me, sorry about that, I am dying a little bit. Both of these are basically the same engineering as the, oh geez, okay, that was a powerful one. Anyway, both of these are pretty much the same engineering as the Titan's Return Titan Masters. As you can see, they even have the same engineering. By the way, in the G1 cartoon, Apeface's Titan Master was called Spasma, I believe. And interestingly enough, both versions of the character, at least in the toy form, the Titan Master doesn't have a... I can't wait till I have a real recording set up and I can finally just throw away this old crappy one. Put a little book under that. So in... what was I saying? Oh yeah, Spasma. So Spasma was the name of the Titan Master or Headmaster in the G1 cartoon. Interestingly enough, neither of these Titan Master, Headmaster, whatever you want to call them, are given an official name. strangely enough. And if you look at the Titan's Return Apeface, excuse me, the way his body is styled is based off of the full-scale figure. So, you know, legs kind of have similar detail, chest has similar detail, head obviously has, you know, very similar detail. Meanwhile, Spasma here is more based off of the G1 toy headmaster itself. What with the sculpting, completely different head sculpt. And yeah. So, it's kind of the comparison. A few things do make this one different. First of all, there is no compatible Titan Master plug bit. You know, this little heel piece for the robot mode that sometimes will plug in. This one doesn't have it, obviously, because it has a face. Again, another thing that makes him different is he has two faces. You could call that a face. We'll get to that later, though. And his arms are a bit more chunky, but that is, you know, to help facilitate the more cohesive head mode for whenever the legs flip down and form the faceplate of the robot mode head. So, and you know, they do both form heads. They are both compatible with Apeface, the large one. Interestingly enough, though, whenever you have him right out of the package, this head is actually rotated so that whenever it fits into the neck port, and from what I can tell, it needs to be rotated around in order for it to lock in securely, but there we go. Yeah. So, that is a quick look at the overall look for the robot mode. Articulation-wise, I completely forgot about that. His head is on that ball joint, so you do have some wiggle waggle, some looking up and down. You can even flip the face around. Again, not exactly a face, but we'll get to that soon enough. Arms can go in and out. They can't go fully out, or I guess you could say they can, but they do a full 360. The arms, due to transformation, do have a deep elbow bend, but they also have a reverse elbow bend and even a bend right there. Again, that's for transformation. Can't really think of anything other than like battle damage poses or whatever. Wrists move in, but again, that's because of transformation. Speaking of battle damage, by the way, he does have a ton of battle damage paint. This is like the first Siege figure I have seen with this much extensive battle damage paint. Even some regular paint on the go, too. Okay. Anyway, where was I? Nothing at the waist, simply due to transformation. I don't really see how they could have put a waist unit in there. Like, they would have to really work some magic with what they already are doing with this thing. Legs can go forward that far. The butt flap doesn't move out of the way, so they can only go back that far. Knees have about a 90-degree bend, close to it. He can do the full splits, pretty much. He's got very good Jean-Claude Van Damme-age right there. Bit of a toe bend right there due to transformation, as well as a deep ankle tilt. So you can get him to some pretty good poses. Let me go ahead and put you in the back right over here. So just for some real quick size comparisons. Here he is with the Titan Master version. Teeny tiny. Here he is with a Battle Master, Siege Battle Master. Ooh, that color scheme is not going to be good, but I think there's just enough contrast you'll be able to see it. Here he is with the Genericon Deluxe Refractor, one of the reflectors, or whatever. There you go. Here he is with another Voyager, Voyager class Megatron. Megatron is a bit bigger and chunkier. And since we're going with the cons, here it is with leader Shockwave. Although I stand by what I said in my Shockwave review. That's more of a Voyager plus. It's not really what I would call a leader class figure, but you know, to each their own. And I know that if I don't do it, someone's gonna ask for it. So here he is with Commander class Jetfire. It just blows my mind. Imagine if you were this size and there was a person that size. You mean Shaquille O'Neal? Shut up. Anyway, that's pretty much all there is for robot mode, except for accessories. He does come with 2. He does come with a blaster, pretty standard issue looking blaster. Oh, 2 things I wanted to mention. One is that in a lot of the more recent Siege figures I've been getting, it comes with a sheet that is nothing but like, do not eat this in every language possible. And then I think these are copyright laws or something like that. Not sure. Can't even read it. Read it. Do the thing that I'm telling you to do. Yeah, these are basically like customer service, copyrights, and a whole bunch of do not eat. So it concerns me that they're shoving a whole bunch of that stuff in these packages now. Also, as I said with the some of my last Siege reviews, I'm starting to put the names of the weapons in Moonspeak. And yes, I know that's Cybertronian, and if you want to translate it, you can go ahead and do so, but I do not have the time or the patience for that, so you can have fun with that. So he comes with a gun that, of course, has a 3mm port. He can hold that in his hands. You can, of course, use any of the other 3mm ports that are all over the freaking place on this guy. Where are the ones on? Oh yeah, they're back here on his feet. 2 in the back. And then he comes with this, which technically should be considered parts forming, ? But I honestly really don't care about parts forming if it's technically a weapon. So I'm going to just forgive this and call it what it is, which is basically a shield. So, what was I going to say? What was I thinking? Oh, yeah, that's right. So basically, you can attach it by the 5mm port. Interestingly enough, this is transparent blue plastic. You can tell from the handle. Same as on the... you can't see him in this mode, but he's got cockpits in vehicle mode, and it's of the same plastic. So they painted over this really nicely, and the thing is, it color matches. Not so much on camera, but in person, it color matches pretty spot on. So, instructions have you posted on here. I always want to keep it up on the shoulder, kind of like the G1 figure did with his kibble. Yeah. So from here, the instructions have you go into beast mode, but I want to save the best for last, so we're just going to go into jet mode now. So just want to take Titan Master, pop him out, and set him off to the side. And of course, put all the weapons off to the side. So what you want to do is you want to straighten out the arms, fold in these, take this whole back assembly and bring it just down and out, get it out of the way. Untab the wings from these feet areas. As you can see, there's a little purple tab, little slot in there. And just bring these out to the side just to get them out of the way. Next, what you want to do is you want to take these arms and fold them up all the way so that they tab into themselves. And then from here, if you notice, there's a tiny little tab and a tiny little, you can't even see it, it's like right there. It's a tiny little spot where that tab just kind of very softly rests there. You just leave this assembly right here in that spot. Take this part though, rotate it around, and you will see this black tab and this slot right where that mushroom peg is. You want to take that and tab it in. No, you don't want to loosen the mushroom peg. Hang on. That's an interesting thing about this figure, is that I've noticed some of the tolerances were a little bit weird, and I'll explain more about that whenever I get into beast mode, but come on. Come on, you. This side wants to fight me. There we go. Close enough. Horseshoes and hand grenades. And then on this side, same thing. This side worked a little better for me the last time. There we go. Maybe I just didn't line this up right. There we go. There we go. Hey. And then you just bring the wings back slightly for that. Next up, you want to untab or rotate the ankles. Untab this entire section right here. Flip it out to the side. That on both sides. Then you want to come here. Take this whole assembly and just rotate it. And you will see that there's a little black tab that will go into one of these two notches right there. Tab that in, push it down. Oh, by the way, you want to make sure that this is facing like in this direction. Yeah, just like that. Then you want to take this. Actually, you want to do both of them at the same time. Makes life just a little bit easier. And then there's a lot of floppy bits that are around here. Take that part, just lift it up out of the way for now. Gonna come to this section and rotate it. Oh boy, so many floppy bits. Shut. If you notice that there's a tab right there and a tab right there, so they just kind of hook into each other a little bit, like so. And then do the same on the other side. Sorry if it's a little bit hard to see on camera. This is difficult to do in person even. Make sure everything is tabbed in and it'll make things go a little bit smoother. Try to make life easier, because life is pain. Anyway, once you got everything tabbed together, or at least you think so, those ankles, drop them down, flip these toes back up. If you come up here, you'll notice that there's two tabs, two ports. Do the math. But I don't like math. Well, I don't like math either, but sometimes we just got to do what we got to do. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Next, you want to push these wings forward a little bit. Come to the back, open this up. Take the little Titan Master and kind of get them in this position, because you're going to be using those two ports, tabbing in to those two pegs. Push it down. That'll help anchor them into the... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where'd it go? There you go. This worked so much better off camera. Tap them in. Get them as reclined back as possible. It's difficult to do that because he has such a heavy backpack. And then close this up. Take these wings, put them off to the side, and then on these struts you just push them down. Like so. And then finally, you take this thing, plug it in right up top. That also secures the cockpit, make sure nothing falls out, and turns this into the true cockpit. And then you take the gun, and according to the instructions, plug it into the first weapon port right there. And there you have, excuse me, Apeface in vehicle mode. I am not calling this an airplane because this is not aerodynamic in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. I am going to go ahead and refer to this as a spacecraft because that's how my brain. That's the only way my brain can make any sense of what's going on here. It's got a cockpit. It's got wings. It's got monkey feet thrusters. That's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be like that, aren't you? There we go. I guess these could also technically be thrusters. Can't hardly see them though because that plastic just bleaches out all the detail. I guess some right here too. Anyway. So yeah, it functions as a vehicle mode, I guess. I mean, if you want to see a comparison, if this is the minimalist of the vehicle mode, it hits all the marks. Wings in the back, stubby body, nose cone. The colors are more G1 accurate than this thing, but I just noticed that. Foreshadowing. But yeah, it's a jet. So anyway, just for those some size comparisons again. Battle Master, he condenses down a lot into this mode. Short, flat, but he's also very wide now too. Not as tall though. There's a deluxe, a Voyager, there we go, and leader class. Yep. So, yeah, the jet mode's okay. It's, I'm glad that they were able to fit that in, but it's not what I got this figure for. Out of all three modes, I'd rate this the lowest. First one being robot mode, second beast mode, and then this one, third place. But speaking of beast mode, let's go ahead and fast forward and get to that. So what you want to do is remove the gun, remove the kibble, pop open the back, bring out the little dude, and just get him back into head mode. Ta-da! Anyway, close that back up, and you're basically just going to undo what you did to an extent. So you want to pop those pegs out of those ports. You want to lift up the wings on their struts. Just a little easier said than done. You may also untab everything in the process. Once it's all tabbed together, it's fine. But the moment you untab something, everything just starts falling to pieces. So, make sure that's all together. You want to take these blocks, lift them out, and basically unfold the gorilla arms. Kabingo, kabongo. Next, you want to take the legs, move them down as far as they'll go. These chest pieces do get in the way of the articulation, and then just take these so that they're kind of technically you're supposed to leave them like this, but I just leave them pegged in the way that they were in vehicle mode. Makes my life a little easier. One moment. Sorry about that. I was experiencing some technical difficulties there. Take the wings, rotate them all the way back. And so you can start pushing them down just a little bit. Take the kibble, just store it right there for now. And then you would think that you would only have one step left, but you actually have several. So you want to take the head piece, or the nose cone, and then come to the underside, flip out this head piece. Now, the thing about this head piece is that this, you can see that little thing will clip over this. If you look in here, there is very specialized slots. I don't know how well that'll show up on camera. There we go. These little specialized slots on each side that'll go over these specialized tabs. Now, in theory, that'll lock everything into place very well. However, it is a pain in the butt, so I will do that off camera. Give me one moment. Ta-da! So as you can see, when all is said and done, this piece will have been flush, and then these tabs will have gone up into that slot. That also makes the neck assembly very secure. This isn't flopping around or going anywhere. So, as you can see, we're almost done. We just need to take the gun, pop that into this second slot here, so that he has a back cannon. And then finally, you take the head, 180 it, and just drop it into the slot there. And there you have Apeface in his beast mode. And to be perfectly honest, it works as an Apeface. I mean, again, comparisons, it works. Articulation, you know, he has a ball jointed head, so you do get a lot of expressive movement with that head. I was very surprised at that. Arms can do a full 360, go in and out about that far. This is as far as the elbow can bend. It can bend all the way back, obviously, for transformation, but this is as far forward as it can bend. The wrist can go, of course, all the way in and out about that far. Of course, you want him to be walking on his knuckles. These legs are only able to rotate there and rotate here, and or hinge joint, hinge joint, hinge joint. Not very articulated, but you know, he gets the job done in this mode. So once again, some size comparisons. Battlemaster, Deluxe class, Voyager class, Leader. So anyway, and then if you get a real good look at that head sculpt, he's even got the very very cartoony head sculpt. But yeah, it's really good. Details there on the tampos. Oh, by the way, the speed strength thing from the robot mode that G1 had doesn't work on this figure. There is none. So that is Apeface. It's honestly, I really do like this figure. I like it a lot more than I thought I would, even. Especially having it in hand, it is much more solid than I was expecting. And even though the vehicle mode kind of sucks and the monkey's got some junk in the saddlebag area, it works pretty fine. So, and plus the robot mode is spectacular. I have no problems with the robot mode, even with the back kibble. So, anyway, I think that'll pretty much do it for this video. So, yeah, this has been the review for the Transformer Siege Voyager class Apeface. I am Recall, and I just realized I did an entire video about a gorilla former without even mentioning